It's easy if you try. No need for self-medication. No reason left to cry.
Well, there is a STAR test, and the accountability trains are coming. So let's do everything to help our kids be ready to show what they can do. In a perfect world, our kids should be ready to perform on the STAR test at the highest level due to our amazing Tier 1 instruction and our incredible student engagement. I don't know about you, but I have yet to find that perfect world, so inevitably it takes a little more for our kids to get ready for the STAR. Also, while so many of our kids know their stuff, many of them lack confidence when it comes to testing time. The fact is that while certainly our goal in every subject is to get our kids to the point that they can apply what they have learned at high levels of complexity, the truth is that in all subjects, reading, writing, math, science, social studies, foreign languages, even activities such as volleyball, band, or welding, kids need repetition. They need repetition in order to become proficient. Let me say it again. It takes repetition to get good at anything. You know, practice makes perfect. For some reason, in our world of education today, repetition has gotten a bad rap. Perhaps it has gotten a bad rap because some folks have misused it. You see, repetition is crucial to learning, but it must be the right kind of repetition. Kids must have successful repetition. For example, they don't need to practice missing free throws. It is far better to practice making them. And while practicing, kids need instant and immediate feedback. Otherwise, they just start practicing bad habits. I am convinced that if we fail to help our students truly master the fundamentals of the subjects that we teach, then they are doomed to fail at some point, and they end up looking stupid when the truth is that they are anything but that. Think about this. We don't get them to master their math facts, and by third grade we ask them to solve 3 and 4-step word problems when they can't even instantly multiply 8 times 7. Or we ask them to read long passages and compare and contrast pieces of literature when they can't even decode words due to their having never mastered the letters and sounds of our language. What about this one? We ask them to write grammatically correct essays, and they have never even mastered the basics of sentence structure. Am I just old-fashioned and opposed to the higher level thinking that is required in today's world? Well, I probably am old-fashioned, but just think. When Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, he wrote the code for it, which means that he had obviously mastered the skill of coding, and you know that it took repetition in order to do so. However, there is a right way and a wrong way to provide our kids with needed repetition. Let's say you are teaching the skills of the multi-digit multiplication algorithm. So the first thing you do is you give a lot of guided practice. Once they have it somewhat, it's time for them to practice. So here comes independent practice. Now here's where it can all go wrong. I'm not one of those folks who is opposed to worksheets. After all, the STAR test is mostly on paper. However, you know what often happens when you assign this kind of worksheet. If the student is not yet proficient, they start missing. And before too long, they've missed everything. And think about your level of angst when you grade this at home. What a waste of time. It's like my golf swing. If you were to take me out to a driving range, buy me a bucket of balls, and tell me to start practicing, what I would be doing is practicing and grooving my very, very bad golf swing. What a waste of precious time. This is what happens on long worksheets when the students are not ready to be on their own. How much better is it if my practice time becomes an exercise in grooving a good golf swing? This is what great repetition is all about. Practicing the right way until it becomes automatic. And so many of our kids have never had enough repetition in order to truly master their stuff. This leads to a breakdown in confidence. They don't think they can get the right answers. Therefore, they need real practice and opportunities to find out that they can indeed get the right answers to the questions. So what can you do differently? We'll take this worksheet for example. And by the way, what I'm going to show you works with virtually everything that kids need to master. Again, we want successful repetition along with instant feedback. What if you could take this worksheet and cut it up so that each problem became its own little card? Then you go through and number each one of these cards separately. Then you get a folder or a bag of some kind. Put all of the cards inside the folder, then attach an answer key to the outside of the folder. You now have a bag of what is called study cards. There are a million ways in which these can be used to give your kids successful repetition along with instant feedback. Watch the following movie to see the basic way that study cards are used. I want to show you basic study cards. All I've done is taken some math problems and just cut them up like this, and I have the answer key right here. And I have 3 of my students here, so we're going to start doing some study cards. Now today, every time you get one right, you're going to get a Curry coupon, and these are worth thousands of dollars or whatever, a retailer. Here we go. So just work your problem, kids, and when you finish, make sure you get it right, and just hold your problem up when you get it. Now my job is I'm just going to sit here as they work the problem. Just pretend. And when you finish, just hold it up. Oh, she's got it right. Now what I do is I look at it. It says number 16, and I'm looking on here. She got it right. Great job, Mrs. Dooley. All right. Here's your next one. And see, I just keep putting these on the bottom of my pack. All right. Oh, great job. She got it right. She gets a Curry coupon. And I give her the next problem like this. Oh, I'm sorry, she missed it. Now, if she missed it, I don't give her another chance. I put this one on the bottom. And I just hand her the next card. And we just keep doing problems like that all day, and they'll do hundreds of them. Those are called study cards. Study cards provide successful repetition as well as instant feedback. They also teach kids to get the right answer. If a student misses a study card, don't let them have another chance on that one. Also, don't worry about keeping up with which cards the student has or has not done. Study cards are great for tutoring. They are great for independent practice. When kids do study cards, they can work them on whiteboards, or they can simply do their work on the study card itself. Be sure to only give students one problem at a time so that you can focus in on correct practice. Don't forget the reward. This is what makes study cards great. Instant feedback and praise for doing right. You can simply give a gum for each right answer, or you can develop a system of coupons toward some future reward. Whatever you do, reward them for getting the right answers. So you can use study cards during tutoring or RTI time, but here comes the real power of study cards. The teacher should never be the one running the group. A monkey could run the group. So what you do is take some high-achieving student, train that student, and voila, the student can run the group. Just be sure to reward this student for doing this task. When a student runs a group, now the teacher becomes much more effective. The teacher is now free to help those students who need the help, while other students are busy grooving their good golf swings and earning prizes. What about this? Let's say that you tell little Sally to run a group in a corner for you. What if you have groups going in the 4 corners of your room? Now your students are well managed and are also receiving valuable, successful practice. It also frees you to stand in the middle. You are now free to help individual students while knowing that your class is running smoothly. You are helping the students who need you most. Simply tell students, don't miss. If you know how to do it, if you don't know how to do it, come see me. I will send you right back with the right answer. You can come to me as often as you need. Here is an actual set of study cards being used in a tutoring or a small group intervention in a middle school. You can see Mrs. Garcia She has 4 students. They're working on study cards. She has the answer key, but she's able to help the students who need her the most. Here's a student leading a group in an 8th grade setting. So this student has been trained. Remember, we're going to take care of this student. So we're going to make sure this student gets some prizes. But as long as the student knows how to run the group with integrity and fidelity, it works. Now let's look at the 4 corners in action. So you have a student running one group right here. This is 8th grade. There's another corner, there's a corner, there's a corner. This frees the teacher to roam around the room and to help the students who need it at point of need, while other kids are getting successful practice. This is much better than a worksheet. Are you going to have some Saturday schools this spring? Saturday schools can be fun. If we're going to give up our Saturdays, we should at least be having some fun doing it. So let's look at a movie of a Saturday school in a fun way. This was an actual Saturday school where kids were practicing for the STAR writing test. And so what we did was just simply cut up released STAR questions, and they're doing one paper at a time. And so every time they get it finished, they hold it up. The person running the group checks it. She has an answer key on the packet. If the student gets it right, the student gets to keep it. They're trying to accumulate as many of those as they can. So anyone can be helping in a Saturday school. You don't have to be an expert. Now, running is legal in Saturday school. You just saw a young student run in the back of the room, and I'll show you where that student is running to, because we have a table of experts. So here were the 4th grade writing teachers at the time, and these students are running over to the 4th grade writing teachers to get some help. And here they're getting the help they need. The helper is going to help them understand it and is going to send them back with the right answers. Now, they don't want to come get too much help because it slows them down, and we're trying for prizes. But it makes Saturday school a fun thing. Here are some pictures from an actual Saturday school. You can see the excitement as students are learning to get the right answers. In fact, they go so fast that they will wear out the folks running the groups. Here you can see students going to the help table, and they can go as often as they need to go. We even hired some of our higher students to work as helpers. And of course, you don't have a Saturday school without prizes. And Dollar Tree is great for prizes. Once your Saturday school, if it's 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks is over, it is time for the prize walk. We line the kids up from the one who got the most to the one who got the least, and we walk around until the prizes are all run out. So how do you make study cards? Well, in the old days, I had to write every one of them by hand. Well, thank you, technology. All you really need to do is to create a template to which you can cut and paste problems of any kind. Just remember to number each problem separately. Study cards work for word problems as well. They work for anything. You can even have study cards with just one problem on a page. Study cards work for all subjects. You can even do them for reading as long as the passages are short. They work for language arts, particularly for revising and editing. They work for science. They even work for social studies and history. For you folks who have purchased the Star One test generator, there is actually a feature that makes study cards. When you create a document, go to flashcards. It will print them as study cards complete with the answer key. Is that cool or what? If you've purchased Study Island, there is an option to print the online problems as a worksheet. With some cutting and pasting, you are in business. And when you are in those final weeks, right before the test, heck, cut up the actual STAR release test and turn them into study cards. Trust me, they never get tired of doing these. When I taught for 18 years, kids would come into my classroom at 7 in the morning. They ran groups and they did study cards. They would choose to miss noon recess to do study cards. Study cards are addictive and they're fun because success with instant feedback is fun. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. Happy practicing.
Only if you take this seriously, llama.